let's sit back, kick up our feet, and Steven Crowder is going to tell us what he didn't want to do.
They don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand. They can be wage slaves for a little bit. They can be wage slaves for a little bit.
God bless the talk boy. Those things are worth like $5,000 now. It's an expensive gag. So didn't want to have to do this, but Daily Wire outed themselves very, very quickly. And sure enough, if you see all of the people who work there, some of whom I have relationships with, they immediately tried to make this all about money. Here's the problem. There are a few problems, and I'll go through with some receipts. Everything that was said about negotiations, how they transpired, beyond the numerical value, which is true, and I'll get to, everything else is untrue. I don't really want to get into that. It's completely irrelevant. Here's why. Go back to the 20-something minute video, 30-minute video. You've never heard me say or write anywhere online that these offers weren't paying enough money.
That's right.
Why? Because it's not about the money.
Exactly.
It's kind of unreal to me that the only thing these people can still talk about is the money. The conversation was about conservatism, the movement, and big tech. They keep talking about money. I'm talking about a country. I'm talking about a movement. I'm talking about making a difference. It's not about the money. And Jeremy and the Daily Wire know that. How do I know they know that? Because after, according to what he said, I walked away from the offer. I did place one more call to the Daily Wire, and I made it very, very clear that it wasn't about money. That was not the topic of conversation. There was zero, as they've tried to portray this, miscommunication. It was one last call where the only thing that I asked for, my only demand, was their word, and not even for me, but for other people coming up facing these kinds of contracts. Let's say it's a kid who comes in with 500,000 YouTube subscribers or something like that, 100,000. Let's say it's some other kid you're paying six figures to come in and do it. There's not the penalty of the demonetization, or if they're removed from iTunes, Apple, YouTube.
Yeah, sure there would be.
And here's something else.
Fucking base, Crowder.
Very measured. I was painstakingly clear in taking myself off the table because it wasn't going to be a right fit. That happens in business all the time. But that we weren't talking about me. We were talking about the futures of other people who could potentially be in that position, that very disconcerting position. No miscommunication. What I'm talking about is you're describing a model for everyone, not just, let's get rid of me here. Everyone, if there's a penalty for being demonetized on YouTube, because your business model requires that be a huge component of it, you need to change your business model or this movement cannot work, Jeremy. I can't imagine my show trying to come up and be beholden to YouTube advertiser guidelines, let alone, honestly, being beholden from a conservative entity with hard strikes, right? Being removed, but let alone being advertiser friendly. We know how broad those guidelines are. They might as well just read, don't say anything offensive, and they change them at the drop of a hat.
I'm not suggesting that the guidelines aren't terrible. I'm suggesting that if making money off of those platforms is part of how you're justifying the salary you're paying someone, then or the fee I keep saying salary, the fee you're paying someone, then when those go away, everybody loses money. You can't pay the same amount with less revenue.
Based Steven Crowder. Holy shit. Steven Crowder got Jeremy Bowie to say this stuff and recorded him saying it? Based motherfucker. I have a whole new level of respect for Steven Crowder right now, and I'm going to tell you why. Steven Crowder put out that video the other day knowing that everyone would know it was the Daily Wire, and knowing that the Daily Wire would act with such hubris that they would respond to it. And he did this knowing that in his back pocket, he had the recorded phone call with Jeremy Boeing, where Jeremy's saying, yeah, we're still going to fuck people over, Steven. And Steven is there looking like a saint saying, it's not just about me. It's about all this other stuff. It's about the model. It's about you guys colluding with big tech. And now Jeremy Boeing has just said, well, we can't really differentiate. We can't really create a different business model, Steven. We really have to collude with big tech. That's just the way we're going to go. Wow. Let's keep going.
How about you create a different business model?
Now, I know what...
Yes, and Jeremy Boeing could create a different business model. They absolutely could. So all you Daily Wire shills that are in my chat right now, I don't want to fucking hear it. I really don't want to hear it. Don't tell me that the Daily Wire is trapped through a set of golden handcuffs to collude with YouTube to censor conservatives. Don't tell me they have no other choice. They can create any business model they want. They don't need to pander to YouTube in order to do this. They can create any business model they want in the world. They are choosing not to. They are choosing to collude with YouTube because they are establishment shills. The Daily Wire are establishment shills. I don't know when people are going to realize this. They are never going to push the envelope. They are never going to do anything other than try to push the establishment line. They are never going to go against big tech because they want that big tech money. And conservatives working with them and supporting them, yeah, I'm going to say it, are complicit. You are complicit in supporting big tech. It is time for conservatives who claim... Oh, shit. I just hit my desk so hard that my second laptop just fell off the stand I have over here. I don't know what's going on there. But it is time for conservatives who claim to care about big tech to stop supporting the Daily Wire. I'm going to say it, and I know my opinion doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot of anything, but if you support the Daily Wire with your money and your subscription, you are supporting YouTube censorship. I don't know how much more clear that people like Steven Crowder can make this for you. If you are supporting the Daily Wire, you are supporting YouTube censorship. How can you possibly justify that? How can you possibly justify that when you continue to complain and complain and complain and complain and complain and complain and complain? Everything that the Daily Wire tells you from here on forward should be considered suspect at best, because Steven Crowder has caught them right in the act. Based motherfucker. King Steven. I'm even going to learn how to spell his name right now. King Steven Crowder.
Some of you are thinking, of course, telling someone else, hey, change your business model. I get it. I'm in no position to say that unless, instead of Monday morning quarterbacking it, here's the thing. I didn't just offer criticisms. I offered a guide on how to, here's the deal. I want to sit at the table with people who, granted, have an immense amount of power and have incredibly deep pockets. That is all true, to be clear. And by the way, it's something that I want to have on our side of the aisle. But I offered a guide on how to do it. It is incumbent, this is what this is about. It is incumbent upon conservatives, if we believe what we say, to uncouple, to divest, if you want to use that term, from big tech, right? For the business models of the movement as we move forward, to not rely on playing ball with Facebook and with YouTube. That is something that we have to move toward. You know that we've been trying to do that here for years. That's why every single show we say, hey, if you can watch on Rumble, please do so. We're not looking to be banned on YouTube. But we certainly won't compromise the truth in order to be advertiser friendly. Here's the thing, Daily Wire, Jeremy, and I really do hope that we can talk at some point. Please, you can pick up the phone. We've done that. We here have found a way to make that work. For proof, see election night, our numbers on Rumble there, and see the numbers on Rumble when we get suspended from YouTube. I think it was 4 times this last year. And I went to great lengths to communicate that to the people at Daily Wire.
There can be no next me if the people at the top with the financial resources are doing the big. That's being the arm of big tech. What you just said is, well, we have to play ball with big tech if we want to make money. Well,
oh God, he is such
Why
a
don't you
king.
guys follow a model like I have.
Oh God,
that's what I've been doing since 2014. You know that has been trying to make sure, which I thought we were all doing, that we can all flip the bird to Silicon Valley. This is saying we need him and you need to play ball.
And by the way, before some of you ask for this, look, there's always personal information on phone calls. And for the record, I've recorded 3 people on phone calls in my life. All 3 are involved with big tech. Just to be clear, the entire call transcript has been sent to others to verify without hopefully having to release the whole thing. And I'll be on Tim Pool's show, I believe, on Monday to talk about it.
Oh
now,
my
this
God.
is something else that's been brought to my attention. Look, some people have been sent out from Daily Wire and have gotten very personal. Obviously, when we released this video, we didn't name names, and I told you there are a lot of people in the space who have made offers, and it is true. There are quite a few, and there are some others that have been pretty similar to this. This isn't an incredibly unique scenario, but there have been some good people out there too, and we're still talking with them. So I do know that some people from Daily Wire have come out, maybe been instructed to. I have no idea. I don't care. And they've gotten very personal. I don't want to do that. At least I didn't want to. But now it's sort of necessary for me to do so. So these are the only personal things I will say about the people at Daily Wire. Andrew Klavan is one of my favorite people of all time. He has an unbelievable skill to make you feel like the smartest guy in the room, even though I guarantee you he's smarter than you. There are very few people whose company I enjoy more than Andrew Klavan. Jordan Peterson is not only a friend, I would go to the wall for him. He's a guy who has changed the landscape of our country for the better. Can't say enough good things about him. Ben Shapiro is possibly the smartest person I know. That's as personal as I'll get. Now, here's the thing. Only after that final call, after negotiations had followed through, pleading on the side of principle and knowing that it was completely met with deaf ears, did I come out like I did? See, here's the thing, they keep talking about a business. Well, I walked away from the table because I'm talking like it's about a country, about a movement. And this is the thing, the response that I've heard over the years, it's not just now. I've been doing this for a long time. You constantly hear, it's just business. It's just business. Well, guess what? It's not to me. Sure.
I completely agree with Steven Crowder on this, and I'm going to tell you why. I am so sick of hearing conservatives make excuses for why they can't do something, and then they go, it's just business. It's nothing personal. It's just business. It's nothing personal. It is personal when you are going out and making money by shilling to the public that you believe in things that you are not willing to stand behind. If you are saying things on the air, on the Daily Wire, complaining about tech censorship, complaining about how conservatives are censored, complaining about how they're victims of the world, complaining about how you have to create your own parallel economy and your own brand of TV shows and your own brand of razors and your own brand of this and your own brand of that and your own brand of the other thing. If you are going and complaining constantly about how conservatives are victimized in the world, and then behind the scenes, you participate in the victimization and you say, well, I know publicly we say that we don't believe in what big tech is doing, but privately we have to be in bed with them and we have to suck their cock because it's just business, Steven. It's just business. I'm sure you understand. I am sure that you don't mind getting down on your knees to suck off big tech because it's business. And we can't do anything differently or create a different business model that we claim to want, that we claim to need, that we claim is critical to advancing conservative culture in this country. We can't possibly do that behind the scenes because it's business. Are you shitting me? I'm sorry. Any conservatives who continue to support the Daily Wire after what Steven Crowder is showing you right now, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how you possibly think that you are going to change culture and get big tech under control when you are paying people money to continue to shackle conservative voices to the big tech that you claim to hate. The only way that the Daily Wire learns a lesson is if people cancel their subscriptions. That is the only way they learn, because it's just business. And you should say that when you cancel your subscription. It's just business. It's not personal, Daily Wire. It's just that I don't believe in colluding with YouTube and forcing conservative content creators to follow YouTube censorship guidelines in order to be on your platform. It's just business. That's what you have to say. It's not personal. And if you don't do that, you get what you get, man.
Sure, I run a business, but it's not just business. And let me ask you, when have you ever heard someone say it's just business when they're doing the right thing? Ever hear someone give $250,000 to charity and say it's just business? And here's something that I would like to ask you, because I know that they've tried to play the identity politics and misrepresent the whole financial situation. But yeah, over the course of 4 or 5 years, the total operational budget, meaning 25, 30 employees, all of the costs, security, health insurance, would have been somewhere in the $50 million ballpark for that total operational budget. That is true. Okay. First off, I think it's a good thing for conservative companies out there to be generating or capable of generating far more than that. It'd be better than just Disney and just Netflix and just Hulu Plus. And I'd like the people who are in charge of that to be people who are willing to walk away from that if it comes with strings attached, with people who hate everything you stand for. So let's take that at face value, okay? I want you to ask yourself this question, okay? Put yourself in my shoes. What would it take? How much do your principles matter to you? What kind of a headspace would you have to be in to walk away full stop from $50 million? Let me ask you even further. What would it take for you to be willing to walk away from at least $50 million because of it causing harm to someone else that doesn't even affect you, but the next kid? I've talked about this, you have it in comedy. I'm never going to be the guy who pulls the ladder up after me. What motivates me
Thank you,
is
Pilgrim.
not money. Of course,
I
everyone here
appreciate
likes
it.
nice things. They want to make a living. You've heard me say this many times. I want to pass the torch. I want there to be someone else to do this. It can't happen if this is how our movement is structured.
For people who still don't understand why this is not about money, Steven Crowder has had multiple health scares in recent years. And I don't know the details of all the health scares. I do know that he's been in the hospital. I do know that stuff has gone on with his wife. When you have multiple health scares, you start to think about your legacy. You start to think about, what am I leaving behind? What Steven Crowder is telling you, that those of you in the chat who really think that this is just about money, what Steven Crowder is telling you right now is this has nothing to effing do with money. And if you don't start listening, you will not understand why he's doing this. This is about legacy. This is about, he just said it, passing the torch, making sure He's paving the way for people to come after him. That is what he cares about. That is what his priority is. Everything about his actions tell you that's what his priority is, and it's probably because he has had major health scares in the recent years. Death is not a far-off concept to Steven Crowder. He had to live it. He got close to it. So of course that's going to be more of a decision-making factor to him than $50 million because he can make that on his own. He does not need the Daily Wire to do that.
And you know that, by the way, this could do irreparable damage to the movement, the country, and the people who've fought so hard for the ground gained if we've decided to get in bed with these people who want to strip it away. I'm asking, would you walk away? What would it take for you to walk away from $50 million? Because it's true. That's exactly what I did.
Good for you, Stephen.
It's exactly what I'm doing. And so long as these contracts out there include enforcement of big tech, of punishing conservative creators on behalf of the people we claim to fight and the people who have long since demonetized us.
For real, King Peter in the chat.
Part of me doesn't blame them. As long as these contracts include that, not even for me, but the next person, I wouldn't take $1 billion. And certainly not if you understand in context, when behind closed doors, I know, and these people know and acknowledge exactly what's being done to the next generation of creators.
Bench talent, young talent, they don't get deals like this.
So they don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand.
That you then own.
Well, I own parts of it. I don't own it. They can, when their contract's up, they can still go out and they'll still be famous. They can keep doing their show, so go do a show somewhere else.
He just said that young, upcoming talent are going to be wage slaves to him, but he'll make them famous in exchange. What else are they going to have to sell? You know, during 2020, when I got all the subs to my YouTube channel, and I grew this platform really, really, really quickly, it was made extremely clear to me, in no uncertain terms, that if I just pretended to be a conservative, which I never did, but if I had pretended to be a conservative and said the conservative talking points and played the role of being the Democrat that left the left and then became a staunch conservative and just started talking their talking points every single day, I can't even, it was made extremely clear to me that I would make a lot of money. But I couldn't do that. I cannot tell you guys how much money I gave up on to not do that. And I'm not even playing this game. Like, I never wanted to have a show or anything. But like streaming is fine. I didn't want to do like a formal thing. But it was made extremely clear to me that I would make a lot of money. And I couldn't do it. And you know what? There are and I was very lucky to be in a position where I didn't have to do it because I have multiple streams of income. I do not need YouTube revenue to make a living. That was never what my jam was. My point is this though. Young content creators who are just starting out can get sucked into contracts like this where they do not have a choice but to toe the line and say the talking points and do it again and again and again and again and again. And Jeremy Boeing is telling us right now, based on this phone call that Steven Crowder recorded, that he is going to pay them slave wages. He's going to work them to the bone, but he's going to make them famous. But are they going to be made famous for saying things that they believe in? Or are they going to be made famous for shilling their conservative talking points? Because you can get very famous by shilling conservative talking points. But what do you have to give up? What do you have to leave behind? You have to sell your soul. It is really difficult when you're in that situation to not sell your soul. And there have been times in the last 2 years where I have looked back and I'm like, man, life would be so much easier right now if I just sold my soul when I had the chance to sell it. And I have life experience and I have other ways to make a living and I didn't need to sell it for money, but like I cannot imagine being in a position of being like a young 20-something content creator, and I'm getting this offer from the Daily fucking Wire, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm never going to get something like this again. And you really feel pressured into taking these predatory contracts. I know, because I used to have to do stuff like this when I was first starting out in training. In like corporate training, I used to have to take contracts that were not advantageous for me, but in order to get started in the business and to get clients and that sort of stuff, I understand the pressure of it. But Jeremy Boeing is telling you he's exploiting young conservative talent in a way that's probably going to lead to them getting burnout, in a way that is never going to push a populist agenda, which is what I think the base actually wants. God bless Steven Crowder for exposing this. Jen said she just canceled her subscription too. Boycott the shit out of them, guys. If you ever want this movement to change, and I'm saying this, I'm not even a conservative. I don't have any skin in this game, but I know how to change things when I know how to change stuff like this, and you don't change it by continuing to pay people money to bend you over and fuck you. You don't change things by continuing to support the way that things have always been done before. You have to give the Daily Wire reason and incentive to change. And guess what? If conservatives find their balls and they actually make the changes that Steven Crowder is telling them they need to make, if the Daily Wire does it, then other organizations are going to do it too. But if the Daily Wire doesn't do it, and they're still successful anyway, then they're going to show other organizations that you can use and abuse young conservative talent, that you never have to push the envelope, that getting in bed with big tech was exactly the right thing to do. What conservatives do from here on forward, after this is exposed, is going to set the tone for the type of content that is going to be created by these organizations moving forward. If conservatives backlash hard enough against the Daily Wire, they will change the Daily Wire, because Jeremy Boeing is telling us flat out that all he cares about is the money, honey. That's what he's saying to us. And he's saying, it's just, guys, it's just business. It's nothing personal. Just business. Janet said she just canceled her Daily Wire subscription. To hell with people like this. Thank you for the super chat, Janet. I appreciate that. Sonia canceled her subscription. How many other people canceling Daily Wire subscriptions today? Let's continue.
They'll be in a far, far, far better place. You helped make them.
No, not long as this contract. This contract owns it in perpetuity even after the contract. You're paying a lease but getting ownership. That's what this contract is.
On the content that we paid to produce, yes.
Well, that
Look,
makes a
I understand there are going to
too.
be differing opinions on this.
Thank you for
I
the
understand
super
that.
chat.
As someone who does run a business and has to 20, I think maybe 25 employees, I don't know, we're expanding. I understand people run businesses differently and have different priorities. Here's the thing. I would genuinely still, Daily Wire, Jeremy, love to sit down at the table and explain to you how you can make all of this work, how you can scale what we do and not have to be beholden to the people who we all go out and claim that we're fighting, and especially with all of the financial resources that you have, which, by the way, are very impressive. And by the way, since fielding requests for people who've sent this in who you guys are under these kinds of contracts, right? You've sent in your emails. If you're looking to either join a network or looking to navigate these contracts, we've been flooded. I'm going to try and get to all of you. But here's the thing. Let me give you my word right now. My word. Everyone, you can timestamp it, call me on it. Here at Mug Club, we will never take any ownership over your social media platforms or your channels. And I don't want a dime ever of your YouTube revenue. You make your own decision as to whether you want to be monetized or not. Some people want to, some people don't. I just have a problem with requiring that you do and penalizing you if you don't. And to Daily Wire, to the rest of the people out there, give me a call. And look, let me put it this way. If you give me your word, this is all that matters here. Just give me your word that there will never be a clause in a contract again for some unsuspecting kid or someone who doesn't have the luxury to walk away from $50 million, as I did, true, guilty as charged, give me your word that you will not penalize them 25% for demonetization, another 20% for a strike, another 20% for Facebook, Spotify, Apple, up to 80%. Just give me your word that that clause, that spirit will not be in any contract sent out to anyone else who's at the front lines fighting for this country, and we're done. All of this stops right now. You will never hear from me again. I will go out and sing your praises. You can pick up the phone. You have my word. That's all it is. That's all this is about. In the interim, to everyone else, stopbigcon.com. Be a signatory. I'll see you Monday. Tim Pool.
I got to tell you guys, Brandon says this isn't the behavior of a leader, it's a behavior of a leech. I hope you're talking about the Daily Wire with that, Brandon. I agree with that. We've got a couple more people saying that they're unsubscribing from the Daily Wire. Where did Tim Pool mention me? I have no idea what this is about, but if you mentioned me, cool. If you mentioned my work, cool. That would actually be shocking. But also great. That's a different thing. Listen, I am so happy right now. In 2021, I had a really big falling out with conservatives because I came to the conclusion that none of them actually believed what they said they believed. I'm gonna get emotional. I'm crying. I had a really big falling out because I kind of came to the conclusion that none of the establishment conservatives that I had surrounded myself by in 2020 actually believed anything that they said that they believed. It really was very blackpilling for me because I'm like, like these people claim to believe in free speech. They claim to believe in individual liberties and not a single person is acting like it. And they cancel people that are like even worse than they cancel people like even worse than the left does. At least they did to me, and it was really upsetting to me. And honestly, for like the past couple years, it's been really difficult because I feel like I've been screaming for a principled position, just one fucking person take a principled position. And this is the first time in the last couple of years that I've actually seen a conservative take a principled position. And I didn't think this was possible. I didn't think that this was I didn't think that this was something that would ever happen. And I gotta be honest. I'm impressed by Crowder, man. I used to watch Crowder all the time. And I stopped watching him not because of him in particular, but because I stopped watching pretty much everyone, as you guys know. I don't really watch other content creators except if I'm doing something like Nitwits. And I always thought Crowder was very smart. I always thought he was very good at what he did. I mean, he's a bro. He's a man's man. I'll watch him in bits. Used to watch him in bits and pieces. I couldn't watch him every day though. But I gotta tell you guys, I have watching what Steven Crowder just did. I have so much respect for him. I have so much respect for what he did. That's a man right there. That is a man that actually believes the things that he says. This is what I'm talking about when I say that you can tell what someone believes through their behavior. This is what I'm talking about. Steven Crowder didn't just go on Twitter and his show and say, be against big tech censorship and say down with big tech, down with big tech, down with big tech. But then he colludes with them in the background like the Daily Wire does. Steven Crowder walked away from a $50 million contract to stand by his principles. This is how you know what he believes, and he believes in this. This is like one of the first white pills I've had in a long time, man. About the conservative movement. Maybe this will start something. And if, like, I've seen so many people in the chat saying they're canceling their Daily Wire subscription, you know? Oh, Tim covered the trans woman seeking. Oh, well, that's cool that he mentioned. Did Breitbart say something too? You know, why aren't people covering the autistic sex ed stuff? Someone tell Tim to cover autistic sex ed. I don't mind the trans thing too. The trans thing is also like really that story is really disturbing. Actually, a woman basically, a trans woman posted a thread on Twitter about how they were going to take advantage of the Canadian assisted suicide program because they regret their transition so much. And I happened to see it as it was happening. I wrote an article about it for my Substack, which is carlin.substack.com. Anyway, I'll go check out that later. But man, I don't even know if I want to watch the rest of that Nick Rekieta video right now. There's no question left. There is no question about who is in the right here. Steven Crowder is right. The Daily Wire are shills. I don't blame the Blaze. I don't know. Steven made it pretty clear for people saying the Blaze in the chat. Like, I like the Blaze, generally speaking. And Steven said in his other video that he didn't think the Blaze had any, this wasn't the issue with the Blaze. It was only the issue with this one. But goddamn, now you know exactly what I said at the beginning of this stream. The fact that Jeremy Boeing did a hour-long video where he obfuscated Steven's point entirely. That shows you who the Daily Wire are. Man, good for Steven Crowder, man. I don't have anything else to say. I have nothing else to say. I don't feel like I need to watch the rest of that Nick Rekieta video, although I really was enjoying it. And that was a fun beginning to the stream. But the Daily Wire did him dirty. It is the Daily Wire's fault. Everyone should be if Candace Owens is on Timcast tonight, everyone should be super chatting in, trying to get Candace Owens to actually tell the fucking truth, which I highly doubt. Guys, by the way, if you haven't figured out that Candace Owens is a shill yet and a blatant grifter, I don't know what to tell you. Don't support Candace Owens. She is an awful human being. What are my thoughts on PragerU? Massive hypocrites that do not believe in individual liberties at all. Doing a PragerU video is one of the biggest regrets I have of my life. Of my entire life. Because I don't like hypocrisy. Hypocrisy, to me, there is nothing worse than when I have raging hypocrisy shoved in my face. I detest PragerU more than I detest the Daily Wire. And that says something, and I detest the Daily Wire quite a bit. And it really burns me because I do actually think that Dennis Prager does say good things. But again, you judge people through their actions. You don't judge them based on their words. You don't judge them based on the sweet nothings that they whisper in your ears. You judge them based on their actions. What are my thoughts on Peterson? Guys, if you have questions in the chat about what I think of people, I'm feeling in a sassy mood tonight after Steven Crowder just made my entire fucking week. What are my thoughts on Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson has helped millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of young men. He was a voice that they needed when they didn't have anyone else speaking for them. I don't think that anything that Jordan Peterson is doing today should overshadow the good that Jordan Peterson has done in the world. With that being said, I think that he sold out epically when he joined the Daily Wire. I think that he's gotten extremely angry. I think that the whole thing with the barbiturates was I think that really, really changed him. And I think it's sad. I think it's tragic. I really, really do. Because I think that overall Jordan Peterson is net positive, but I feel like he's sold out recently. And I don't like that. But I understand why he did it. Again, I understand the temptation of the money. And I never was anywhere close to making the money that these people are making, right? Like I could do pretty well, but like I wouldn't have gotten to that level. So I understand the temptation of the money. I really do. I understand why people sell out when they are later in life, because it's like you want to be able to coast at that point. You've worked hard. So I understand why he did what he did. Will I be listening to Jordan Peterson from here on forward? Nah. Not at all. Not at all. I like the Blaze. Generally, I like the Blaze. I think the Blaze does a good job. I really do. I like the people at the Blaze. I don't have any issue with them. Now, I don't always agree with what they say, and I don't always agree with the choices that they make, but like overall, I think that the Blaze does a really good job. Miss Mass Genocide says, I see Crowder's point. He is trying to guarantee the fight against big tech will continue long past him. He is trying to guarantee the fight against big tech will continue long past the now. Yeah, that's what he's doing. It's really admirable what he's doing. Oh, sorry, benzos. You're right. Man, how cool is that? So guys, I think that is where I'm going to end the stream for today, because I have to get ready for a workshop that I'm giving at 8 p.m. You can still sign up for it if you want. The link is pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube. I'm giving a workshop. It's a 2-part workshop. We're going to meet today, and we're going to meet next week for an hour. And this is about confidence building, showing up as your most confident self, whether or not you are in the workplace or in life, or you just want to do a YouTube channel or something like that. I will teach you how to be your most confident self. If you want to join me for that workshop, you can still sign up over on the website. That has all the information there. And if you don't get a chance to come tonight at 8 p.m., it will be available on demand afterwards. This is part of my Unwoke Your Work series, where I'm working on building all of my organizational trainings online so that you can have professional development resources that are completely unwoke. I am a fucking amazing workplace trainer. I'll tell you what. And so I have a whole series of workshops I'm going to be doing. We're doing the confidence building workshop. Today, we're going to be doing mastering your psychological style. Next month, we're going to be doing advanced psychology. After that, leadership. We're going to be talking about people management, mindful techniques for work and life, being your own best coach, escaping a toxic workplace, and my favorite presentation of all time, playing politics, the psychology of the human workplace. I'm going to be doing these all year long, one of them every single month. You can find out more information at activelyunwoke.com/work, where you can sign up for the workshops. And you can do them one at a time. You can do them as one big package. You can find out all the information there. I'm going to go I feel like I could run a mile. Does anyone else feel like they could run a mile? That confidence building workshop is going to be good tonight. I'll tell you that. All right, guys, I will be back tomorrow for happy hour at 5 p.m. I don't know what we're streaming yet, but I will tell you tomorrow. Keep an eye on the channel. Join us at 5 p.m. Grab your drink of choice and come watch a woke training or video with us. And then, of course, we have Socialism Saturday at 6 p.m. on Saturdays, where we watch real socialism and we talk about it. And it's crazy. But guys, please mount that like button on your way out the door. AD says, I need those. My psych classes this semester are very woke. Well, come with me, AD. I will teach you the real psychology. Not any of that bullshit woke stuff. I'll teach you the real stuff. So sign up for the next month after that. Those are my 2 main psychology courses. Guys, mount that like button on the way out the door. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. And as always, make sure you sign up for my Substack. Apparently, Tim Pool covered it today. I didn't even know. So my Substack is carlin.substack.com. Make sure you sign up for free updates or a paid subscription there if you so choose. Guys, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.